Hi guys, Sut Gill here. Welcome to our team collaboration training session, specifically focused around COVID and the situations we're facing right now. As I said, my name is Sut Gill. I'm working alongside Acudemy on this exciting talk we're doing for the next half an hour or so. What I wanted to do is first just give you a bit of an introduction to myself so you know who I am. And then we'll get an introduction from Acudemy as well. Then I'll go through what we're going to be covering off in today's half an hour session. So a little bit of introduction to myself. As I mentioned, my name is Sut Gill. I am 37 years young. I'm based in Beaconsfield in Buckinghamshire. And I just wanted to share a little bit about my experience and my background. I spent the best part of 12 years in the wrong industry. I was in the financial services industry. And I quickly realized as a head of sales, there's kind of two things that I had to focus on really when I was heading up a sales team. And that was the development of my people. And the second area was recognizing and being aware of the sales coming into the business. I spent 99.9% of my time on the training and the development of my team. I'm passionate, enthusiastic about helping and developing others get better at what they do in their careers, whether it's sales focus or management focus or communication focus. I'm also a part-time tennis coach. That's where the love for training and development came from. I decided to set up my own business 4 years ago now, and I've been fortunate or unfortunate enough to catch the best part of 45 flights, traveling all around the world, delivering training sessions just like this. So as you can see that I work with quite a number of different clients across all industries as well. I mentioned I'm a part-time tennis coach, and you only qualify to become a part-time tennis coach when you fail as a tennis player. And that's exactly what I did. I was top 50 UK, and that's about as good as it got. I've also completed an Olympic triathlon. As you can see there, I'm quite an energetic person that likes to be challenged. So COVID has been pretty challenging for myself. So the first bit is motivating your team through challenging times. I'm going to separate the two out, guys. Okay, so I'm going to spend a bit of time on motivation, but I'm also going to touch upon what the challenging times we're facing at the moment and how we need to recognize that as business owners, as leaders, managers, or just any communicators out there. The second area we're focusing on is effective communication over a virtual platform like we're talking through today. I'm going to share my own insight, having sat in on so many webinars and so many training sessions over the past, 7 months now. I want to share some of my insights around what I think people are doing well and the biggest mistakes people are making as I've gone through this. So a bit of my own insight and what I picked up, and I'll share some tips and ideas on how to avoid some of those mistakes. And the third part is how to deal with conflict when you're not face-to-face. So we'll spend a bit of time. I'm going to share some best practices, again, a couple of theories, which I think can work really, really well when it comes to dealing with conflict or challenging situations. Actually setting up your day and the purpose of your day, having a purpose. We're going on to that in motivation because I think that is absolutely crucial, because yes, it becomes like Groundhog, right? Every single day doing the same thing, and being able to shift and move things and adapt the situation is not easy, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's very important, especially if you're working from home.
Yeah, absolutely. Question for you, Yusuf, because obviously you manage a team. Do you know, if I was one of the things we do in our training sessions, right? I get each of the leaders and the managers to write down their team members and write down what motivates each of their team members. I'm keen to hear, and be honest with this, I'm keen to hear how well you get on with doing that.
I think it will be, that's a good question. You've got me on the spot. I think we'll get on well because we do have like our quarterly reviews and just generally seeing how they do, both from a work but then also a personal point.
Yeah.
But there'll probably a bit of like question marks when it comes to that purpose. What's their purpose? Yeah,
and you're not on your own, Yusuf. So every time I do this, and well done for answering it, being honest, because every time I ask that question, a lot of people are like, and they're like, yeah, I know, and they start writing it down, they write the names down, they go through like, actually, I don't know. They genuinely don't know. And they start, everyone, when they ask the question on motivation, everyone goes towards money, or I want to improve on promotions, I want to get better at things, right? So promotions, rewards, money, all that kind of stuff comes up, right? And I think it's really hard. I think it's really, really difficult for you to really find out someone's true motivators, right? Because you ask that question straight up like I did. That's the toughest way of doing it, right? So a quick tip, Yusuf, for you, right? I hope you don't mind this, but next time you're with your team, because I think it's very difficult on one-on-one basis, to ask someone straight out in a one-to-one, so what motivates you? This it's a really big topic around progressing their skills. I get that. And also understanding what they want to improve and what they want to get better at, not just allowing them to go and research and find out this information, but presenting it back to the team in a team environment. That also ticks the box for autonomy and a purpose as well, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So getting them to learn a subject or a topic area and then presenting back to the rest of the group, the rest of the team, I think it's quite powerful.
I totally agree on that. That's a good idea.
What about the purpose? How can we drive their purpose? Let me phrase some questions, okay? So let's think about purpose. Academy, do you have values within the business?
Of course.
You've got your values, right? Would you, hand on heart, say that everyone in your team knows all of the values and is aware of them?
I would hope so. But hands on heart, probably half of the team members.
Okay, that's pretty good, right? Why is that? And it's not reflecting on you as a company or anything like that. Why do you think that could be?
Lost in translation, probably. From probably management down to the ground. Yeah.
So this is in every single business, right?
Yeah.
Creating the challenge with values within a business is that they're created from the very top, and there's kind of no involvement anywhere at all. So in the training session, actually, I run some sessions on me being a business owner and how, if I had a team and I get everyone else to be the team, I work with them to how to create the values for them as a business, for their team. So they're connecting with your business on a much different scale, on such a different level, because they're involved in it. They're involved in creating the values. That's why people don't always remember the values, because they're not always involved in it.
I agree. It's more like passed on from the top.
And it's not an attack on you as a business at all. It's every single business, everyone I speak to all the time. A lot of people don't even remember their own values. It's because sometimes we need to create team values and core values. Smaller, if it's a big business, you only create team core values. And we link into that behaviors as well. So actually, what does good look like? What does success look like? That will drive people's purpose. It will help people to be connected to a cause larger than just making money. Right, we get that, and I think that's quite a powerful way to build true motivation. Autonomy, give them ownership of a certain task, delegate in the right way, and people will be motivated by that. The thing to remember is, if you don't challenge people enough, they're going to be demotivated.
Yeah, bored.
Challenge people too much, they're going to be demotivated.
Yeah.
Believe me, it happens so much. So being able to find that right level where people are being pushed and challenged, but it's a motivator. They're driven by it. And I talked about delegation there, and something that sits with autonomy, mastery, and purpose are two things. Remember this. Number one is being able to coach your team. The second area are one-to-ones. One-to-ones and being able to coach your team. When I talk about one-to-ones, I'm also talking here around personal development plans, not just one-to-ones about business perspectives, but also personal level. So I would split all one-to-ones into three areas. PDPs, personal development plan, their business and work objectives, and how they're personally feeling. That third one sometimes is forgotten about. But those are the three areas I think is really important. It does drive motivation, coaching, one-to-ones. Any questions on motivation, guys?
Well, you touched on like the motivation part of delegation in terms of like, as an example, like
Mhm.
how does one find that balance? Is it a conversation through one-to-ones or coaching or?
Or what in terms of delegation?
Well, just like in terms of like demotivation, so finding the balance of like, say, I give someone too much work or I give someone far too little work
Yeah,
where they become a bit more demotivated. Like,
yeah,
how does one find out,
yeah. It's a
find
good
balance?
question. So what I would say is the personal development plan is really crucial for this, because if you can understand their drivers and their development areas, and you know that they want to improve on it,
Mm.
they've got a passion, they want to improve in this area, and you're delegating work specific to that, and it's linked to that, they will want to find the time. It's that purpose element again coming out. They'll want to find the time to do that. What I've done in the past is if someone has got a lot of work on, but I want to delegate something specific to them, you've got to, I would always use what I knew about them and their personal development and where they want to improve and get better. I would always link that back to, look, I want to pass this work on to you, Yusuf, because I know you want to get better at face-to-face presenting. So I want to give you this activity and this activity, but I'm aware that you've got quite a lot on at the moment already. So we do spend time, Yusuf, running in a training session, running through how to run a PDP, how to run a one-to-one,
Right.
through coaching. It's exactly what we do.
Okay.
Sorry, we haven't got enough time on here.
No, yeah. Another day.
Any other questions on this before we move on? All good?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm good, actually. Yeah.
Okay. So let's move on to communication, okay? We all know we're in a real challenging time, me included on this, and you guys probably included as well, around how to communicate effectively, whether you're using Zoom, whether you're using Teams, or in any other platforms. There are some real challenges right now, and being able to communicate effectively without being face-to-face, without human contact. And I've, like I mentioned at the start on the agenda, I've sat in on goodness how many webinars and how many training sessions. There's been so much stuff on LinkedIn that's been available, and I've sat in on so much stuff. And I just wanted to share with you guys some of the biggest mistakes I've seen when it comes to communicating. And these are from, all different types of webinars that I've sat in on. And I want to get your thoughts on which ones stand out for you. All right. So let me just put these up. Okay, guys, moving on to the next section after motivation, focusing on how to communicate effectively when we're in this crazy world of working on Zoom, on Teams, because there is a big challenge, right? There's a huge challenge not being able to work face-to-face and communicate with the face-to-face. There's big challenges that I've seen that I want to share with you guys around the biggest mistakes that I've seen from webinars and training sessions and communications on Zoom. And I've been involved in so many over the last 7 months. These are the biggest mistakes that I have seen, all right? I'm going to put these up on the screen. Mm-hmm. What I would then like you guys to do is have a think about them. Have you seen any of these mistakes? Did any of these resonate with you? Can you put your hand up and say, do you know what? Actually, I need to be better at that. All right. I just want to get your thoughts on it. Okay. So I'll put them all up now, and then we'll have a bit of an open conversation once you've had a think. These are my own thoughts, okay, on what I think are the biggest mistakes being made right now.
I've seen about 4 already.
What's your thoughts, Yusuf?
Definitely point 1, no agenda. I just feel like we're having a Zoom meeting for the sake of having a Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
Definitely gone on for way too long. I can
Yeah.
see. And I think during lockdown I had like a full day just of Zoom calls. It's just like,
yeah.
Was it necessary? Probably not. And an email could have done.
Yeah. Okay.
Depends who I'm also talking to, actually.
Yeah.
That comes to mind.
Yeah.
Obviously, with a client, it's slightly different, but usually with the team, yeah, it can be a quick message on Microsoft Teams, really.
Yeah.
Rather than spending hours on the phone or hours on actual.
So let's just go through some of those then. No agenda being set. The reason why I put this up is that sharing your agenda, but asking them what's going to be important for them. How they're going to get value out of the next hour. So really, really important. Creating a shared agenda. It does increase engagement. What else can we do around engagement? How else can we engage other people on the conversation?
Bring him into the conversation, I guess.
Yeah.
Like Shameen, now, what's your point?
Yeah, no, of course, and setting up tasks for everyone. Like we have an agenda, then at the end you want to have a feedback on it as well. So making everyone participate in it, and also in terms of agenda, it's not like only the boss who sets the agenda. You can, from each one of us, we can have an agenda, a set of objectives that we want to add to our day of week of working. So it's good to share and know where we're heading.
Yeah, that's something, just to interrupt Shameen, that's something that we do, Suk, is, for example, when we're doing a virtual call, everyone brings an agenda for that week.
Yeah.
So they bring their point, and then we just essentially we run through that agenda as a group.
Yeah.
Rather than like Shameen says, one of us sets the agenda. Yeah.
It's so powerful. It's amazing that you guys are doing that, right? The reason why it's so powerful, because people are going to stay engaged because they know there's something in it for them. They know there's something specific that they want to focus on, because as much as we love to think that we care about others, we care about ourselves first, right? Fair point, right? So we do care about ourselves first. So it's important that we engage in them. What's in it for them? What are they going to get out of the next hour? That will help keep people engaged. There's a much higher chance to keep people engaged. It goes on for too long. Why is that? What makes a session feel like it's going on for too long? Hopefully this one isn't, but
this one's actually too short. So I think when it goes on for too long, people just start dozing off and looking at other things.
Yeah, get bored.
Yeah, that's what I found, is like I see an email come through and then I'll start checking it.
Yeah,
my attention span it's not that long.
And hopefully what I'm trying to do again is what am I doing constantly with you guys when I'm sharing something?
In the engagement, that's the whole point.
Participation.
Yeah.
I'm always coming back to you guys. What's your thoughts, guys? What do you think? Is this a good idea? What's your thoughts on that slide? What's your thoughts on this slide? I'm constantly doing that to get engagement, to get people to have a conversation back. The other one that stands out for me, lack of clarity, we'll go on to in a second. We have to have clarity on what we want to achieve on that conversation. The last one, trust. C stands for credibility.
Credibility.
Credible, okay? That builds trust with your clients. We're internally with each other, absolutely credibility. The R stands for reliability. Doing as you say you're going to do. Being a reliable manager, leader, colleague, client, really, really important. The I, it's an American book, so excuse the word, it's intimacy. Building a deeper, stronger relationship, or customer centricity is another way of putting it. Those three areas really, truly build trust. Credibility, reliability, intimacy, which is a deeper, stronger relationship. The division line, the SI, stands for self-interest.
Self-interest.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is that we make it less about ourselves, more about the other person. And it's really simple. As humans, let's say, Yusuf, I came to you and said, this is what I did at the weekend. Your natural thing to do after that is to tell me what you did at the weekend. Human instincts, right? We tend to focus on ourselves. We kind of, everything that we do, even when you're putting a document together, a pitch together for a client, the first 3 or 4 slides, they tend to be about ourselves, right? How big we are, how strong we are, how long we've been around for. That reduces trust. So keeping self-interest under control as a manager is just as important, right? Being able to make it less about yourself and what you want to get done, the tasks you want to get done, but focusing on them and their development. There's a difference, right? Any thoughts and comments on this?
Yeah, of course. Well, Yusuf, getting this before you. You don't want to be self-centered at some point and leading a team. You need to have everyone all together moving forward.
Yeah.
And the thing of like credibility, reliability, and intimacy is very important, as you pointed out, Suk.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we need to put more emphasis on these 3 factors,
Yeah.
and and put away
self-interest.
self-interest. Yeah.
And it's about keeping that under control. We've all got self-interest, right? Whatever job, whatever we're doing, but it's about keeping that under control, focusing on the other person. So trust in the training session, we spend quite a lot of time on this, guys. I appreciate it's just a really short amount of time we're spending here, but in the session, we spend a lot of time on how to build credibility, how to build reliability with your teams, how to build intimacy with each other and customer centricity with your clients, and then how to reduce self-interest. Having clarity before you go into any meeting or conversation, whether it be a client, whether it be a team member, okay? Ask yourself these 3 questions. What do I want to achieve? What are my conditions for success? What do I want the team to be saying or thinking afterwards? Okay, so when you're putting your Zoom call or meeting together, ask yourself, actually, what do I want to achieve? What do I want to get from this conversation? What do I want to get out of this? What does success look like? What is a great scenario? What would be a great outcome for this meeting? But what's the bare minimum that we need to get out of this meeting? And the third question is my favorite. I always, every time before any training session that I run, guys, I always ask myself that third question. What do I want Yusuf and Shamim to be saying and thinking as soon as I cut off from Zoom today? That's the question I always ask myself. That's my end goal, and I'm always working towards that. I'm always making sure that I'm showing those behaviors, those actions that lead me to that end goal. And this is what success looks like, regardless of where you're logging in from. For you to get the most out of a training session that I'm running, or a conversation or a meeting that I'm running, I put these bullet points up.
Probably what I found is some people, in terms of where they are located environment-wise, one or two points might not be possible.
Yeah. Yes.
And if you've got like kids running in the background as well, that's been another issue.
Yeah.
How does one tackle that? Is that even possible?
So I think the situation, I talk a lot about authenticity and being authentic and being yourself. People don't like to communicate with someone that's almost a robot or acting a certain way. There's nothing wrong with the situation we're in right now, building empathy and truly understanding each other. We've seen it so much right now, and it's just recognizing it, the kids in the background, recognizing it, making the other person aware, and then carrying on again. I don't think anyone is offended by that at all, right? And it's the situation we're living in right now, and I think people are empathetic and understanding enough, because people want to work with human beings, right? If you're talking about clients, they want to work with humans, right? So there's nothing wrong with being yourself, being authentic at all. A lot of people try and put backgrounds up and all of this kind of stuff. My view is that actually be yourself wherever you are, right? That's the situation. So this is what I share. So I always tell people to have Microsoft Word open. So any meeting notes, any conversation notes that people need to be taking, or anything that they've learned, they want to pick up on, Microsoft Word's a good way of doing that. Or if they take their own notes by pen, that's fine. With some of the functionality in some of the group, there are private chat functions that you can chat to each other privately, and making people aware of this, because some people might not want to talk. If you've got a group that you're running a team meeting, some people won't want to. More introverted, they may love the idea. Actually, someone said to me a couple of weeks ago, I said, thanks for a private chat. They'd love talking to me on that and giving their views and opinions on there rather than talking in public. So body language, 55%.
Yeah.
38% down is tone, 7% is the words you're using.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to get across here is get people on camera, because body language plays such an important part. The downside is, body language, if we can't see other people, recognize other people's body language, I think plays a massive impact. Also, our own body language we have to be mindful of. Guys, every time I have any Zoom calls and stuff, I always stand up. And you can see now, I don't know if you're aware, I'm standing up now. I always stand up because my body language needs to be up. It needs to be over here because it'll impact my tone. Having poor body language, and a lot of people on Zoom with their head down there, it impacts their tone as well. So impact on the audience, impacting other people, tone and body language play a huge part. Okay, moving on to the final stage, guys, difficult conversations. So when it comes to difficult conversations, and we've covered quite a lot around the virtual area, so I want to focus on difficult conversations now. In terms of, there's kind of a couple of areas which I think are really, really important. in different conversations. So I'm going to shorten this bit out. What I get people to do is to think about any different conversation that they've had in the past and think about their goals, their beliefs, their feelings and emotions going into that conversation. Okay. And the reason why I get them to do that is because that's what tends to happen in most conflicting situations. We go in there with our views, our opinions, our thoughts. What we need to do is shift our mindset total 360 degrees and think about the world from their perspective. Build empathy. The first huge tip with difficult conversations is think about the other person, situation, their beliefs, their goals, their situation at the time, where they are on the COVID curve. That also has an impact before you go into that challenging conversation. Okay, that's the first big tip: is don't think about things from your perspective. Think about things from their perspective. Reduces self-interest as well, right? We're not going in with our agenda, we're focusing on them. That's the first big tip on difficult conversations. The second one, and this is by a guy called Eric Burns, all right? What Eric Burns talks about is that we go into any of these three ego states at any given time, okay? Parent, adult, and child. Parent mode is someone that's declarative statements, demanding, controlling, rules, judgment. Your old manager, your old annoying manager will say something like, get this done now, get this sorted ASAP, haven't got time for this, get it done. Demanding, controlling, just get it sorted out of the way. When someone is in parent mode, what mode are they looking for from the other person?
So repeat that. So
someone's in parent mode.
Yeah.
To get someone to get this done, get it sorted now.
Yeah.
What mode are they looking for from the other person?
Child, basically.
Absolutely. Compliant, passive, resentful, emotional. Yeah, I'll do it, but you're an idiot. Yeah. What's the downside of that kind of relationship? Parent and child.
There is no relationship.
There's no relationship, right?
Yeah, yeah. There's no trust.
One way being talked at.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. The third one, adult mode.
Yeah.
Understanding, reasonable, rational, logical, treats people as equal. Into adult mode, right? So, right, let me explain it logically now. Like, whoa, the conversation transformed. Just in the space of 2 sentences, it's transformed. Next one. The earlier you guys can do this in a difficult conversation, the easier the conversation becomes. It goes from combative to collaborative. By creating a shared goal at the start of a conversation, and you'll need to think about this. What is the shared goal? Where is the goal? What are we trying to achieve? Sharing that at the very start builds a connection. It means you're working on the same side of the table rather than against each other. So create a shared goal as early as possible in that conversation. It makes your job so much easier.
So for example, so any of your, obviously you mentioned that you've been on so many webinars and training sessions. And what was the feedback like in terms of working towards a shared goal or during difficult conversations?
In terms of when I've shared this in different conversations?
Yes. Has it worked?
Yeah, people really like this. So people in my training sessions, I'd say this difficult conversation, and it's really, I've reduced it down quite a lot, right? But in the training sessions, this is probably the bit people love to talk about. They love to talk about because everyone's having real difficult, challenging situations, conversations right now. And they love the parent, adult, child, the stimulus response to work towards a shared goal because they're good tips and it's all about building empathy. That's all it's doing, trying to build empathy. So the feedback's been great for this one. I think this one links into the next one really well. But the one people like the most is this one. And it's a really simple one. That example I gave. Taking a moment before you respond. It makes it more logical. You listen to understand.
Working towards a shared goal.
Okay. And here's your structure. Difficult conversation. Anyone heard of this before?
Grow.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's what I've used on you guys all day today. You feel cheated on now?
Yeah, I do.
Coaching, methodology, goals, reality, options, and way forward. How you use this in a difficult conversation is saying, look, I want you to, by the end of this conversation, I want to talk to you about performance and what I want to do is see how we can improve current performance. Okay, how you've been performing currently. What I'm doing, first of all, is making sure I'm soft on the person, harsh on the principle. Soft on the person, harsh on the principle. Keeping them separate. And so I want to have a conversation with you about your performance. Work on this with your teams, your clients, getting them to the conclusions that you want them to get to. Guys, thank you so much for your engagement and staying involved throughout. Hopefully you've taken some good stuff from there. If anything else, but apart from that, we are done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
It's been a pleasure.